one of the things that over time I'm naturally going to be good at is actually having a good amount of control over my emotions and the way I react to certain things. And when I say that, I don't mean someone says something that gets me pissed off and I'm not getting angry or I'm not upset. I don't mean it in that way, but having a more neutral reaction where I understand both sides of the spectrum before I actually give out a reaction. The reason I genuinely believe most people can't really control their emotions and give that sort of a knee-jerk reaction as to they say other people say something and they immediately give out a reaction is because their ego. Most people, and understandably so, take things to a personal level. But for once, you have to take a pause and actually put yourself in the other person's shoes to think why they would have said that. What is their mindset like, and why would they have said or done such a thing? I remember one time in school in 2021, I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and we were just speaking about our goals and what we would like to achieve in our future. And then I told him about what I had in plans and for my plans, and he literally said, "Oh, but I don't think you have the determination." And I'm not exaggerating that. He literally said that. And what would most people do? Get pissed off, go slap that guy's face. Yes, I did not do that. I just literally smiled and almost laughed it off. Like, I'm not saying that, praise myself or anything like that, but from that perspective, I understood that this guy cannot accept the fact that he can't accept someone else going on to achieve something greater than him, hence he gives out that reaction. That's the case with most people. You always want to perceive yourself as a better person, a bigger individual than the other person. And I don't mean bigger as in physically. I mean, you always don't want to accept defeat. You don't want to accept the fact that that guy's better than you, hence you always want to, your ego will come out and try and put that guy down in some way, and we react in a very expressive, negative way. Something I subconsciously started doing over the last couple of years. It was almost a case of there was a period in 2022 when I may be going off track a bit here, but I was completely down and out. I had nothing going for me. I was struggling mentally. It got to a point where every little thing, every small thing that people could point out in my life that I was perhaps making a mistake on, I would react so aggressively to it, and I would find a way to argue with them for some reason. And eventually I was just sick of it, honestly tired of it. And I just sat for a moment, and whenever people said something about me, I thought to myself about it and asked myself, why are they saying such a thing, instead of just giving out a reaction immediately. And that helped me a ton in actually controlling my emotions now. I'm not saying this again, I'm not saying this to praise myself or anything like that, but just if you can have that ability to whenever something happens that makes you feel a bit negative, put yourself in the other person's shoes. Make yourself understand where they're coming from. And the way when you do that, not only are you going to give less of a very negative reaction to that, but you will also find a lot of peace within yourself when you learn to accept and understand what other people are going through, why they're saying what they're saying. And sometimes it's a case of that the other person is not going to stop arguing. The other person is going to constantly find ways to keep making a point to prove you wrong. When that, it's a case of, okay, just accept it and move on. You're right, so there's no point in arguing with them about it. So I find that I find that very funny with a lot of people. I see them arguing, and one, okay, they're both arguing with each other and they both have their rights and points to argue with each other, but that the other person is not going to accept defeat. That the other person is not going to accept their mistake, hence you just keep going back and forth to prove your point, prove that you're right, which I personally don't like. What are you going to gain out of it? Oh, I won the argument. Is that it? I think a big part of being just emotionally intelligent and being emotionally controlled in a way is just understanding the other person. Don't just keep putting yourself first. Think about them, and then if a reaction is, at times you need to give out a reaction, give it out. But most times you are reacting unnecessarily. And I keep saying this: if you are right when it comes to an argument, when it comes to anything, if you are correct in that position, and that guy or that woman is not willing to accept that you are right, just let it be. Why would you want to argue? Why would you want to argue or prove a point? They're not going to accept it no matter what. So yeah, just think about other people. That'll actually help you when you think about other people. It's amazing how it works, but it's true.